So here we are again with our about 3.5-inch height for our elevated board. Simple copy paper clipped in place with the surface that's smooth underneath. I have a few sheets of paper. I've got my implement for measuring. So we were working on measuring, using simple tools to develop skills. And then also I sharpened my pencil, so there's a bit of stuff. And then doing warm-up exercises. So I'm going to do the lemons basically to size. I'm not going to enlarge them at all. So we're just really keeping things basic. I'm observing the lemons, how they're positioned if I like them. So I've got the stem of one and sort of that bump here that I like to be able to see. And then I've got my shadows. Again, they're not really intense, but they're enough for me to see. So I'm going to do some warm-ups. Again, I'm left-handed, so right-handed people would find the other direction easier to work in certain ways. So whatever your muscles that are developed already, you're going to find that. So you want to work with the muscles that you have and build those, but also for drawing purposes, do other directions of your drawing as well. So I'm just going to start in an area. Maybe I'll do down at the bottom. And try to keep it out of the shadows with my hand. So I'm just going to start to do some short strokes, moving again this. So this is not the direction I would like to be pulling. I feel more comfortable coming this way. So you'll notice that with your, and I'm pressing a little bit, but not, really like intensely pressing. Again, I'm always thinking about, do I feel relaxed? Do I check in? Yes, consistently checking in with my body to benefit in a bunch of ways from doing my art as well, right? Because it's a really, as I say, immersive thing. So just enjoy your sort of warm-up time, do whatever you like doing. So let's make some little, but I'm also aware of the muscles that I want to keep developing in my hand. So I'm going to do that same little thing at this end. And I'm going to just draw a line here and then little short strokes to fill it in, and then do another one, and then maybe come this way. So you want your warm-up to just be enjoyable so that you get a bit loose. You do some muscle development. So some of this again. Now I'm moving more of my wrist. I'm going to come across, down, relax my shoulders, which is where a lot of people carry tension, and use your breath to do that. So relax the belly, check in with that, let it drop. A lot of women especially are conditioned to hold their bellies in, and so you want to practice not doing that, and that takes some conscious effort to just let that poof out, and then your lungs can drop more deeply into your belly and you can get a deeper breath. Okay, so I'm going to come over to this side again and do some maybe 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to come up here and go lighter. So light. So light takes more muscle control. Pull across. And now I'm going to do the same intensity. So keeping awareness of the implement of my pencil, putting that information, so to speak, onto the paper. And as I said in my first video, this cross-hatching can be used to create shadow, and that's we're going to do that as part of our drawing. So we're going to warm up here, and then let's do a little bit of ellipses. So we're going to place it and just start to go around and try and stay on top of the line. So you can go slow and then you can reverse it, and you should start to feel the muscles of your forearm. So let's do 4 this way, 3, 4. And if anybody's old enough to remember the spirograph, that was a wonderful thing. And then I'm just going to sort of come into the center and make the spiral. And then I might try and follow it back out. So just like your arm going to the gym, or your body, for other, building of other muscles, doing art requires that same, depending on what you're trying to learn to do. But if you wanted to be able to have good drawing skills, put the time in to develop those muscles. So I'm pulling down now, and then another ellipsis here. So if you're, in the future, if we draw a mug, and you see that, and then you could make it, thinner. Go the other way. And I'm really moving the pencil, not my hand, with the muscles of my fingers, like this. And let's do one more. And other way. And let's do some crosses. And come down. So I'm probably going faster than I would if I was really trying to I'm trying to make the video reasonable in length as well, so that it's accessible to people. But you could go really slowly and just across, just to demonstrate that briefly, and then come down. Because there's two different ways to build your muscles. One is with rapid repetition movements. You know, you build different muscles when you're going quickly, you know, and then you could do bigger ones. And now my hand's not resting on the, so I'm working from the shoulder as well. Other way. Okay, so just some warm up. Now on to our subject. So we're looking at our beautiful lemons. And I can see the same shadow because I've got the natural light source. I'm going to squint, and that's going to make the shadow that I gain from this one come here. It's light, darker near the object, under it. And now I want to get the measurement, so I'm going to use my implement that is very simple. It doesn't have any measurements on it because I'm going to use my hand to take a measurement on the pencil. So I'm going to sit upright, nice and straight in my chair, extend my arm, not touching the object, holding it back about 3 inches. And then I'm going to place the edge of this with one eye closed where I can see the edge of the lemon. And then I'm going to scooch down to the bottom. So it's fun to go to the store when you're looking at the vegetables and imagine ones you want to draw, you know, because they're so beautiful. And we're fortunate that we have abundance. So I've got a measurement here, and I'm just going to mark the top, sort of here. And I've got my mat that I can also use to see how I like it. So then I'm going to mark that, well, I've got it there, and then I'm going to come down where the one lemon is here, knowing that I need to have space for the other one. And I think that's going to be okay. So I've got the height. Now I want the width. So again, I've got the arm fully extended straight, about 3 inches back from the object, edge of the pencil eraser as it is with one eye closed. I'm seeing that it's the edge of the lemon there. I'm scooching over to where I see that, and then I'm going to place it, use my finger, mark it here. And then it's also an angle that the lemon is, so we're going to have a look at the angle of the way I'm seeing the lemon. So if I go down to the bottom with my arm extended, and if I was to start out with my pencil looking quite straight across this way, and then I see that it's not matching the way that the lemon is, I'm going to tilt it so that it is, and I come down here and just draw a little line to remind myself that that isn't going to have a straight, you know, it's curved, but it's also a little bit on an angle. So I've got the one measurement basically of the lemon, and then I'm going to look at the other one. So I'm going to take the measurement of the other lemon by placing the edge of this eraser when I've got the extended about the same distance with one eye closed, and then I'm going to take that measurement and then I'm going to place it here. So actually, no, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to fill this lemon in more, and then I'm going to place the measurement of the other one before I do that. So I can see that this edge of the lemon is kind of straight where the stem would have been to connect it to the plant. Curve down there like that, come around, and I'm looking at my paper, and I know I have to end up here. So the bottom one to me is so I've got that little, I don't know what you call that, where it pokes out like that, but I could measure it again in relationship to the entire length of the lemon. How big is this outcropping where it has a little indentation? So what I can do is I do the same thing. I take the same distance and I measure the divot thing, or whatever you call that, the little outcropping of the lemon. And then how many of the entire lemons is that one area? So I'm going to count 1, 2, and I'm just moving it across, one eye closed, 3, 4 of the, so there's 4 widths of this within the body of the lemon, not counting this part. So I need to make sure that I've got I was going to make it about that big. So if I mark a little mark there, and then I can count, okay, I need to have 4 of these in here. So there's my little mark. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a bit too big. This area, I've made it come out too far, so I'm going to reduce it because it's too big. And then I'm going to measure it again. So there's my measurement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now how did I get that not working out? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've made it a bit too small, so I'm going to come there. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I bring this out a little bit, we're good. We've got 4. Then I'm going to erase all this other business. And I've checked my eraser to make sure that I don't have material there that's going to go onto my white paper. So I've got my divot, and I'm going to look at the lemon again, and then I'm going to come down here and continue on with my forming of the body of the first lemon, curving around. And just like in the first video, I'm going to mark off the areas that I can see reflected light. So there's quite a bit of light here. There's another big spot of it here. A lot here. Kind of trailing over to the back end. A little spot here. And then, of course, there's the color of the lemon. And then the darkness of the values of the shadow. I'm going to do my same thing that I did in the first video, where you block off the area and then draw some sort of legend kind of lines to show yourself where you need to come in. So there's quite a bit of shadow here. So I'm going to mark like that, but lightly. Same here. And then when the two meet, there's quite a bit of darkness here. So I know I need to come in here. So I've got the first lemon the way that I want it. And I can already see that I'm going to probably be frustrated by these that I did my warm-up. So I might be able to squeeze that other one in there. We'll see. So now the measuring of the second lemon is going to be seeing the overlap. How far in is this lemon behind this one? So I'm going to do my same measuring. I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to take a measurement of how far this one is hidden by that one, and it's about this long. So I know that it needs to be sort of here, light line. This lemon behind needs to be sitting, part of its hiddenness is about that far in. So that distance. Now I'm going to start to measure the lemon itself. I'm going to come across, let's do the height first. So I'm squinting, holding it fully extended, same distance away. The eraser is at the top of the lemon. Grab the distance at the bottom. And then my placement is, I know that this overlap is going to be at one side of it. So I'm going to put the height here and then come down here. So that makes sense. There's the overlap. Now I'm going to come back and take the width measurement of its widest spot. Arm extended, and I'm coming right down to where they butt up against each other with my pencil, and I'm grabbing a measurement with one eye closed. That's against that far side, not touching it. So I'm going to put my hand here, mark that. Got my height, I've got my hidden spot. So now I'm going to start to join things together. I'm going to pull this down so it meets here where it goes behind, and we're going to erase that other line that shows that, and then I have to curve this one to meet up here, curving around. I come to the bottom where that other one is, the other mark, and then I'm going to join those together. Now I'm going to erase this. Oops, sorry, use this one. You never know what ends up getting onto your pencils while you're not looking. So now I've got my two subjects, and I'm going to go back to this lemon and mark in the values area. So the shadow is coming like this from the cast shadow of the other lemon, And this is really dark here, but I'm going to do those same sort of legend lines to show myself that I need to come back here. A lot of darkness under here. Again, I'm marking. And then I'm going to measure where this little stem is. So if I hold my arm out and sit up like the way I was, I can retake that whole measurement. But then I'm going to come down and I'm going to take it from the top of the stem edge here down to the table with my thumb. And I'm going to just take that measurement. Actually, no, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take the top edge here to the edge of the lemon. And it's quite short. So I'm going to come to the edge of my lemon and use my finger to mark the little spot where the stem is going to be placed. And I see when I look at the lemon, there's barely any space between that stem when I'm sitting into my same position and where that whole business is. So I'm just going to darken it in. There's quite a bit of highlight, so I'm not going to like to represent the shape, the 3D-ness of it, is that I got to preserve that little spot there. And you'll make something look more intense when you make the darkers dark, make the darks darker. Okay, so let's just begin to do some gauging of the depth of the value and I would start looking for the darkest area. So I would say that it's under here. So I can curve around my lemon and doing these sort of sweeping moves with my pencil. And then I can see that that comes right to below this little point here. And then I'm going to just start to pull a few lines out, pressing and pulling. And I'm moving my wrist here, coming out not too far, because the shadow at its darkest doesn't come out too far. And then I'm going to cross the other direction, pulling down this time, developing those muscles. And I can sweep around and, you know, come another direction with that. The darkest area where I'm pressing most is right up to the lemon. And you can always return and spend as much time on this as you want. I'm just trying to give you some ideas to get you started so that you can really enjoy the process. And I can see when I'm looking that this shadow actually is more, rather than going like that, it's here. So always look at your entire object and then go into specific areas. So this area's got quite a bit of shadow here, so I'm going to mark it off here. It's coming here, and this isn't doing the actual putting in of the shadow. It's that same marking off of, you know, where I see highlight. So big highlight here, big highlight here. So that gives you that 3D look. So lots of reflected light, reflected light, reflected light in these spots. So I want to make sure I preserve those. And then you get to just do your fun times, which is, I like to do so this was the area that I knew was probably the darkest. But these other areas around it also have shadow. So down, and then you can come this way. You can do some in the direction like we did with the apple, placing more material in the darker areas and finding those when you squint. And then the lemon has all sort of little dimply kind of indentations. You can spend, you know, time looking for those and just putting like little lines like that, curving them because they tend to be they're curved because the object is curved. And the darkest, I can see that there's where that stem end is going in there. So I'm just going to place it like a little line like that, coming around, because I can barely see it from this perspective. Okay, so I'm just spend a little bit more time with that area. And then coming, and here's, we've got that indentation, so lots of dark there. Pull some lines there, little ones here. And all the little dimply things on the entire lemon. And then I'm going to do some sweeps. So moving from the shoulder here in the direction of the lemon. Now it's wrist. So just getting a variety of muscles building as I relax. So again, checking in. I can come down here where my darkness is and press and pull. Coming out, 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 out. And then I can look again. I'm referring, okay, yes, we're still really dark here. So curving around, creating that 3D look on that flat surface. And of course, in the way things are appearing, this isn't white, but I'm putting in my darkest areas first, knowing that I can come back to those once I've got the depth of the value in there. And it should be okay with my warm-up, as I have my warm-up kind of hidden by the mat, which is really fun to have the mat handy. So now I'm going to come in and look in relationship to this value, taking, how's my pencil? I might need to give it a bit of a sharp, but again, coming around with those lines. And I'm always looking like, do I like the way that I put those lines in? If I don't, I'll just do it differently, the next time. So it's really just a process of learning. And as I said in the Apple video, you're not doing something because you want it to be a photograph, or you would just do that with a photograph. Lots of darkness here. As I squint, I can see, so I'm going to put more material there. Nice sweeps. And you're practicing your curves, so go slow. One of the things on my music that I heard, a motto that I think is very good, I can't remember where I heard it, but whoever said it, brilliant, is go slow, learn fast. So your body really is trying to learn what you want it to do, and the slower you do the thing, the better chance it has to really, because we tend to want to think you should know something before we even have spent time on it as a skill, which is really unfortunate. Some people won't try new things because of that, which is really a sad thing. So I know it can be intimidating to try new things. There we go with that. And now it's got like a bunch of sort of forward sweeping areas, little bitty things here. And that muscle is really working. I like how that feels. I love knowing that my body is so amazing that it does all these things that I want it to do. Really rejoicing in that. It's a wonderful thing. So again, quite a lot of darkness here, so I'm going to come back in, and there's something under my paper, which is unfortunate. I didn't sort that out, but nevertheless, squinting, coming in here, and just moving around. My visual is moving around. So now I'm going to join these and sort of draw them out with a sweeping movement. Lines farther apart. I can see that it's coming quite up here. Sort of joining these two areas in terms of blending a little bit. More shadow from the stack of, these are just, if you didn't watch the first video, these are just little old hand weights that I had to do the elevating, because they're nice and portable, and then I can just pop them in the cupboard when I don't want them out. I already had them, which is important to me. You don't have to go and buy a lot of fancy things. You've probably got stuff at home already. Lots of shadow here. Lots here, so let's do some work here. I'm going to come down. And sort of a goal is to see how straight you can pull that line as you go across, And then this is 8, 8, 8, 8. Back in here. Okay. I'm preserving my highlights quite nicely. Going to come around and just do some light dusting of the graphite from the pencil, just to sort of get it going. And then another thing that you can do, if you don't have what's called a kneaded eraser, I don't know if you could use this, you probably could, is just to sort of blend it with your eraser a little bit. And just not use that area of the pencil, of the eraser, when you want to actually remove material. Blend it here a little bit, lightly rubbing it. And look, see, I've taken some of the material and just like shortcutted my drawing by placing it from the eraser into the areas that... So a kneaded eraser is one that is, you can it's malleable, and they're usually gray. You don't need to get one, but they are really great in that you can make things, you can make the eraser really pointy and get into difficult spots. So now I'm just going to continue with these lines here with my mat in place, just to give me a look. You know, it's just something out of an old picture I would have found at the thrift store or something. Now, if I sit and look at the entire thing and squint, it again gives me the idea of, okay, where does it need to be dark? And I can already see that this isn't dark enough. Oops. So I'm lightly now just putting some more material there to darken it up. Again here, we're good. And I'm going to come in soon and take out those marks that preserved my highlights. I could spend more time on this, but I wanted to get it, as I said, not too long. Curve, got my lemons. We're not doing color at this point, but if you wanted to, I wouldn't add color to this kind of paper, but you could certainly trace it and then transfer that to something that would hold color. Although you could use pencil crayon or something like that on this, a dry medium. You could just fancy this up with some pencil crayons and just a light dusting. But I quite like the graphite look. I think it's kind of cool. So the mat covers up all of that other stuff, right? And it gives you a nice, kind of a neat look. So that's going to be it for the lemons today. Have fun at your grocery store. I'm looking for subjects, right? And they're very well behaved. They don't move. And then later on, you can use them to make your salad dressing. Okay, so I hope that that has given you some more tips and another skill to work on. Oh, sorry, I'm going to remove these. So I'm checking my eraser, taking those circles out, looking, you know, I would have to come in and sort of lightly dust with graphite into those areas. Got some there, coming over for this real intense light one here. There's light here. Taking the mark out so that you don't see it anymore. Squinting. Yeah, you could do a lot more with all the little marks on the lemons here and just enjoy the process. Coming back in and sort of stippling this a tiny bit. Right, because stippling is just the little dots, which is really relaxing to do. Darken your shadows maybe a bit more that you wanted to. Coming in here. Yeah, okay, so I hope that you have found that helpful, and I will try to upload a video a week, as I said, and we'll keep building, and eventually I'll be able to demonstrate some of the color mediums that I use, that I've had a lot of experience with, to give you some tips that can also get you using those if you're interested in that. All right, see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.